Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining today. I'm Shauna Griffiths, host of Real Talk, powered by CMD. And I am so excited today to have Christian Murray on. And this is a special edition. It is this Pass the Mic edition. So Christian and I actually came up with this together. He and I each were thinking of this, and then we came up with how we're going to run this one together. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit about Christian, and then we're going to pass the mic, and he is going to use his skills that he honed at sports biz camps, interviewing, and he's going to ask me some questions. So Christian, thank you so much for coming on today. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. It's kind of crazy because the way we met, I still don't even know how we met, but like I told you, Shauna has the best bangs in the industry, and as you'll see, one of the best platforms. So thank you for having me, Shauna.
Oh, thank you. And I'll tell you guys, authenticity is everything. So he literally reached out to me on LinkedIn in a message and said something about my best bangs in the industry. And I was like, I have got to talk to this guy. And I am so grateful that we are becoming friends. And I just really think so highly of you. I love how you tell your story about coming up and, you know, your interest in sports and your gutsy move to Phoenix. And so tell us about your evolution.
Yeah, so it was kind of a untraditional route because, like I said, I came from very, very humble beginnings, single parent household in Atlanta, Georgia. I played sports growing up all throughout high school. So that's where my initial love for sports came. And then figuring out that there was a mesh between working in sports and not playing it as well. There's a business, whole business. I always wanted to be a businessman.
Yeah.
And while still playing sports or being involved in sports. So whenever I made the decision to take a leap of faith, I'm a leap of faith type dude, as you can tell from my move to Phoenix, but took a leap of faith, went to Johnson & Wales in Charlotte, North Carolina, because of a really great mentor I had in high school. And for the most part, since I stepped on the campus, it's been so influential in so many different aspects of my life. I try to just get involved in as much as I can, from sports biz camps to the NBA Future Sales Stars program, Legends program, basically every program over the pandemic I've been involved in. But like I said, just tried to do as many internships while I could. And then as of June, I took another leap of faith to come to Phoenix, and didn't have no job lined up. Still don't even have a couch. Still don't have a wash and dry, nothing to my name. But took a leap of faith, and now I did land a role as manager of corporate partnerships with the Fiesta Bowl. A dream job of mine, but just blessed to say the least.
Oh, that is fantastic. And congratulations on that role. So you start next week, right? And you said it's the manager of corporate partnerships for the Fiesta Bowl?
Yes, ma'am. I start on Monday. So.
Oh, this is awesome. Well, you're going to be amazing at it. I know for sure. But I also know that your road to actually securing the job was tough, just in the fact that you interviewed a lot. And I know that I was able to get to know you towards the end of your interview process, and we chatted a little bit along the way. And I hope anything that I said to you was helpful. But, I'm curious, what were some of the top lessons that you learned during that long interview process?
Well, first, just the networking aspect, you helped me out so much. Those last process, because those were when I was in the crunch time, final interviews, having to really sell yourself and market yourself. Like you told me, you were in marketing, and when you kind of figure out your identity, it helped with your professionalism and everything else. So you really helped me out a lot. But I think the biggest thing that I learned through all those different interviews is you got to bet on yourself. I took the leap of faith because I kind of knew my abilities. I kind of knew who I was as a person. And my goal was to work in partnerships. Okay. I received a pretty good amount of offers to work in ticket sales. There's nothing against ticket sales, but I just felt that I would thrive better in a position where I'm able to develop longer term relationships. And for the most part, that was partnerships. I went through, like I said, the NBA Future Sales Stars program, and then ultimately the Legends program, which are two of the best companies that deal with partnerships and just how they think and how they're so innovative. So I grew a love for partnerships early, and then for the most part, like I just bet on myself, and somebody sent me the opportunity, interviewed, used my connections to land that job. And the second thing I learned was like storytelling is everything. You got to be
Yeah.
able to articulate your goals, articulate how you experience things and what you learn from past experience that you have in your life. Because like when everybody goes through things, but it really just like depends on how you can tell your story
Yeah.
to essentially sell yourself into that brand organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. So the other question I have for you is, during that time, you also were talking to a lot of people, and I know that that's a big part of what you do. And I love that about you, is that you seek out people to get guidance, get advice, learn. You're like a sponge. I love it. But I would love to hear, like, what is some of the best, what you thought was some of the advice that resonated with you most, the best advice that helped you. And I know, and it's your opportunity to share that with others who are listening and impact them.
Yeah, so you actually taught me this as well. It's just like just being you. Be your true, authentic self. You have a story, you have insight, and especially as like younger people, we often can like disregard ourselves or disregard our value because we're like, I don't know anything. I'm just a
Yeah.
young person. But most companies are looking to be innovative. We're the next generation. We're on the brink of making that transition between like technology and just like I said, being innovative. So I just had to realize that I do have a voice and I do have solid perspective and things
Absolutely.
I can contribute to every person, whether it's telling them about like, even if it doesn't mean much, like I'm proud of them for the goals and things that they accomplish, and like just saying thank you for taking the time, thank you for accomplishing the things that you have and can like contribute to like your experience to help my experience. Like those are things that I learned along the ways, is just be you and be willing to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm excited for you. You are going to be on fire, and I am a part of your journey as long as you'd like me to be. And Fiesta Bowl, you are lucky to have this guy. I'm excited, and I'm going to be watching out for you. Everybody else, watch out for him as well. So with that, I will pass the mic to you.
For sure, because like I said, you have like this real talk. I absolutely love to watch so many different episodes, and you have some big time like clients on here, big time people, big time connections who you connected with and get their story. But when I was talking to you, I was like, your story needs to be told too. Like you have really insightful like thought processes and
Thank you.
a variety of different experiences that can contribute to others. So that was my idea. But I guess as it pertains to SLG Impact in particular,
Mhm.
like what does it mean to you? And from the outside looking in, what would you want it to mean to others? Like how do you want people to portray SLG?
Yeah, it's a good question. Thank you for asking it. And, it's very personal to me. It was something that I had this idea about doing for a long time. And I think it really is about purpose. And I believe that I'm on this planet to do something more than just put messaging out there about brands. It's, this desire to actually be the best that I can be so that I can have the biggest impact on others. And that's the people and the work that I do. I actually have a friend who I had on Real Talk. His name is Vahid. And he talks about being in growth versus maintenance. And I think that's a big part of how I operate, how I tick. It's about that growth, that evolution. It's not about just maintaining. And so, SLG Impact is about how can we be a part of the betterment of everything that we're doing, of ourselves, of each other, and create a community and conversation around that. And it's also a big part of it is wanting to help leaders to raise voices of diverse leaders. It's really important to me. And because I think we need to be a part of that change or things won't change. So that's what it means to me. And that I hope that through everything we do, that it comes across to other people. And a lot of times I say that intention and perception are not the same things. So I hope that my intention matches the perception that other people have about the brand.
No, you definitely left a lasting impact on me because, like I said, coming from being like a student, we're forced to learn, and so like I'm a big proponent on essentially like putting myself in the position to learn, and SLG Impact, like the impact that you've had on me personally has been exponential. So I really do appreciate
Ah,
you for
that's
that.
awesome.
But while we're on the topic of impact, like
Yeah.
what would you say is a life or career instance that's impacted you to achieve, to be more successful and accomplish the things you have in your career?
Yeah. It's interesting because I think that it really is this journey, right? So there's so many things along the path that have had a role in that. And I mean, everything, even from when I was a young kid, and so I had a lot of change and challenge that I needed to deal with, as I grew up. And I think that that really helped to lay a foundation of resilience. There was a bit of like survival mode I went into at different times. And, and so that is actually my coach and I were talking about it this morning, Coach Leslie Harris, that it's like, I didn't grow up thinking that other people were going to create the solutions for me. I had to seek the solutions. I had to be resilient and figure it out myself a lot of times. And I think that kind of coupled with that is my athletic background. So I was an avid athlete since the age of 10. And I think that whole thing of like being a part of a team and that it was more than just me. Again, it's like this purpose, this bigger reason, this, something that I was driving toward. And so those things have been a part of like my North Star as I've continued. And so as I got into my career, it was still like I wasn't just working for myself, like, to collect my own paycheck. I was like contributing to a greater team of like a department, literally a team when I was working in the MBA family, when I've been at various agencies that I worked for. So again, I think those are all kind of like characteristics of that. Those are things that happen along the way in my life that influenced it, but I cannot stress enough. A lot of it is the people. And I've been so fortunate to be able to feature a lot of them on Real Talk already. So when in my very beginning of my career with Nike, Felicia Hall, Ray Pond, who I'm planning to have on, Matt Pizarris when I was at the Nets, Alfred White, who has been on, who's now at the college football playoffs. I mean, there's so many people. And I'm someone that when I see someone else showing the example, they're not just talking the talk, they're walking it, right? And so that means so much to me. And I'm a little bit nerdy about this, but like I cling to people's words. So I remember different phrases that I've told me over time. And I know even in our conversations, Christians, I've shared with you little nuggets, and I know exactly who told me what. And so all of those things, I think, is exactly why I talk about evolution, because it's been such an evolution for myself. And so those are all things and people that had a hand in it.
It takes a village to raise anyone,
It's
whether
so true.
you are a child or you're like learning and growing throughout the industry. So I appreciate you for sharing that. And like you said, go ahead.
No, it's so true. The other thing I will say is that sometimes we talk about the things that influenced us we looked at it and we said, oh, I want to do that. I want to be more like that. Oh, that resonated with me so much. And I do have to pause and say, there's so much that I learned by people that were examples of what I don't want to be. And I think that enough can't be said about that and sometimes that's what I think can help us get us through those tough times, is this theory of like, this is in my path for a reason. It's in my path to help me evolve, to learn, to sometimes you can see and be like, ooh, I do not want to be that kind of a leader. I do not want to be that kind of an employee. I don't want to be that kind of like just human being. And so that is all information, right? It's all just information for us to take in to some degree and understand. Well, I have a choice in how I'm evolving. So I just wanted to add, so sometimes there are parts of who I am and how I operate and how I've gotten to where I am because of examples of people I don't want to be like.
Yeah, absolutely. My grandma used to always say, like, experience is the best teacher. And I truly believe that.
It's so true. I'm trying to fix my light here. Sorry, I went dark on everybody. Sorry. It's Real Talk. So, even when goofy stuff happens.
Exactly. So you just spoke of like evolution. Along the way, you had to evolve, especially like through COVID and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
There's no way around having to evolve, and especially in business as well, you always have to constantly evolve.
Yeah.
So what would you say? How have you evolved over the last couple of years, both in your personal endeavors as well as your professional ones?
Yeah, that is such a good question because, and the reason why I say it like that is because the last 2+ years, but really the last, I would say even like 6, 7 years have been a huge shift for me personally and professionally. On the personal side, I think, I was super lucky enough to meet my husband, my now husband. And I think that was a really big shift for me in evolution in understanding priorities, understanding, we've got one life to live. And I think that that's a mindset that governs how I operate personally as well as professionally. One life to make the biggest impact that I can. And that does require constant evolution, constant looking to be the best that I can be. And it's for myself, but it's for others as well, And so that's one thing. And then I think the evolution on the professional side has basically kind of went on this like rocket ship in the last 2.5 years after I lost my job, was laid off at the height of, the pandemic, the worst economy and the worst, unemployment in the history. It was a slap in the face. And I frankly spent the first 3 days upset, hurt, whatever emotion you want to say. And then I quickly grew sick of myself. I was like, I cannot feel this way anymore. But, there goes in that mindset of like, it's survival, and like, I can't rely on somebody else to get me out of this mode. And it becomes that mindset of, what Felicia Hall has this on her voicemail message, and it's your outlook determines your outcome. And I had to live that. And so in doing so, I launched SLG Impact, had some really great client work that I did, was super proud to help create the strategy for the Detroit Pistons with the Power Humanity social impact platform, and did some other things. So, I've done some coaching, launched this, which was it definitely is a passion project for me. But these are just some of the examples of how it's manifested. But I think the evolution that's happened along the way is coming from a different place, right? And so it's this place of standing in my strength, finding my voice. That's been a huge part, not just because I think I had my voice previously, but I wasn't really using it. And I think there was a bit of like insecurity, quite frankly. Not sure what people would think, that kind of thing. And so one of my friends, Lacey, has said to me, you need your voice out there more, and you need to do more of what you're doing. And so, yeah, so that was a bit of my like getting over my own hangups, my own insecurities. And so, I think that's been a big part of the evolution. And it doesn't mean that I think that I've arrived, right? It means that I am continuing to grow, but I peeled back some of that clinging to the fear and stuff like that, because I realized I was a bit of holding myself back from what I was trying to do, that overall purpose. So those are some of the big things: priorities in life, finding my voice, letting go of some of my insecurities. And I think it all ladders up to me being more effective.
Absolutely, and I love that, because I feel like that's just a testament to growth. You have to be able to evolve. You have to be able to like take a step back and reevaluate yourself, reevaluate your goals, because they always change, and that's something. All those pieces I'm definitely looking forward to taking in my career as I evolve and grow, because like I said, I'm not going to be the same as I am 20 years from now, or maybe not even next year. I hope not.
No, it's so true. It's so true. And I think this is, again, something that Leslie Harris, my coach, and I were talking about this morning. And it's about like that, like even real talk. It wouldn't be what it is right now if I had put it exactly on paper and said, this is what it will be. And like, this is the ultimate goal, right? So when I created it, I realized that it would be an evolution of the platform, right? So somebody else was the host at first. Now I've been hosting. I've been doing where I'm interviewing other people. Now we're doing a pass the mic edition, so I do think it's that mindset of, again, like I said, he talks about, it's this like growth, not maintenance. And that helps you. I think that just is really helpful.
And I love, like, you're the quote goddess. Like, I love how you pick people's quotes because they just like conceptualize basically the whole premise of what you're trying to get at. So I love your quote. They're the best. But I guess since we're on a real talk, let's keep it real.
Okay.
So if someone were to like write an autobiography on Shauna Griffiths and the SLG Impact, what it means, we kind of alluded to it earlier, but like, what do you want like the end goal to be? What do you want that autobiography to say about you, the impact that you've had, and this specific platform that has helped so many people, such as myself?
Yeah, it's a good one. It's funny because it's less about talking about me or talking about the platform, and it's more about how we're helping each other, and the impact that it's had is by the other people talking about. It impacted me. It helped me evolve. It helped me realize something. So again, it's kind of an interesting thing because it's even where I don't have the mic. I don't have, I'm not speaking in the mic like this most often because it's really about telling other people's stories to me. And so, because we all learn from each other, I have this, me and my quotes, right? So I have this thing, I'm not really sure how I picked it up, but to some degree, a lot of us suffer pretty similarly, right? So if you're only hearing it from one person, that's only one perspective, one voice. But I think when we get to hear it from other people who have that like-minded passion for bettering themselves and other, that's what it's all about. And so I think that if there's an autobiography, if there's whatever, about SLG Impact and what I'm trying to do, it truly is about like this movement, this catching fire of the notion of bettering ourselves for ourselves and others so that we can be a part of the change that we so sorely need, whether it's people who are sitting in leadership seats, whether it's the people that we have around us. Like if we're just talking about it or complaining about things, be it racism, be it, any social injustice, all of that, like that doesn't do any good. You have to be a part of it. I just firmly believe that. So that's really what I'm trying to do, is to be better for myself and others so that we can all be a better part of a community.
All right, so I guess ending off with a quote for me, Dina, she just basically just killed it. I think like the last and I guess quote or words that I would have is, like you said, be the change that you want to see. You can't help others without having yourself together. You can't contribute to anything if you don't have your own stuff together. So
it's true. And it takes time. Remember, you and I talked about patience, and it's been such a big lesson for me in life to learn about patience in the process. And, it takes time. And that's why I talk about it as evolve and evolution, because I think people get that. It doesn't happen overnight.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I don't have any patience when it comes to this conversation. I'm so ready for this to come out. I appreciate you for having me on, Shauna. Make sure y'all stay tuned for all coming SLG Impact content. She's one of the best. Like I said, this program has impacted me so much, and really can't thank you enough for having me on the show and providing such a tremendous impact on my personal growth.
Oh, I'm so glad to know you. Good things are going to continue to happen. So thank you so much for taking the mic today. And thanks everybody for listening. Bye.
Peace.